So here's your pre-class assignment for today is to go into the Google Slides, which, as you know, we've been doing for our interactive portion of the class. So go into the slides, and when you open up that slide, you will see that it has two sides. On the left side, we're going to ask you to jot down any Blackboard tips you may have discovered as you've wandered around through your sandbox course or attempted things in the workshop. And then on the right side, if you would please write down any things that you think you would like to, any of the things that you think you would like to learn about. Now, that's not guaranteeing that we'll cover them today, but at least it'll give us an idea of what things would be important for you. If we don't get to them today, then we will get back to you. So while we're waiting to get started, if you will do that, then we'll move on and go through. Ellen, we've got a computer set up here if you want to use one of ours. For right now, they can stay muted. Okay.
Ellen, as you're coming in, if you follow this link, you'll be able to participate in the little activity that we have.
It may be set up already on the computer too.
She might need to, yeah, I have it loaded, CL 2015.
Oh, I see everybody busily writing away. That's always good. So while you're giving that some thought, we are going to, we have a special guest, a cameo appearance this morning. So we are delighted. So while you're looking at that, I'm going to go on to, I think I am. Yep, there we go. Our topic for today is Blackboard basics and beyond. Maybe we'll go touch on a few things that a little beyond basics. Yeah. However, before we get into that, we have a special cameo appearance, Dr. Vicki Brown, and she's usually manages to keep herself very, very busy. The assistant provost and head of the Center for eLearning. So she wants to take just a few minutes before we actually get into our interactive part, just to welcome you into the eCert. So you haven't had a chance to meet her yet. Yay! Thank you.
Yes. Usually I do this on your first meeting, and I'm so sorry, I was traveling. I've been traveling a lot lately, working on some state projects that we're participating in here at the eLearning Center and as FAU as a whole. So we're just to kind of give you a little bit of background on that is that it's the 2025 online strategic plan. So last year we, FAU through Dr. Perry and I as his sidekick, helped develop that 2025 plan. And we concentrate on the quality piece. So now we have an implementation committee in which I'm on 2 of the work groups. And so we're trying to put our 2 cents worth in on how we can implement that plan. So I've been doing a lot of traveling just to keep up with those things. So I apologize for not making it to your first one, but I definitely like to invite you to and welcome you into this process. It's a very important process. I think distance learning has always had this kind of mystique about it. And in my opinion, it's doing what you do every day. It's just trying to figure out a different way to do that in an online environment. My background actually is as a special education teacher. I served 10 years in the public school systems in 3 different states. And then went back to get my doctorate degree, and actually it's in curriculum instruction and educational leadership with an emphasis in distance learning. And so that's how I eventually ended up here, came to FAU. I taught as a faculty member here for 7 years, earned my tenure and promotion before I came over here. So I understand it's a good thing. And so the opportunity came to lead the center, and I decided to step up since I've been teaching distance learning for the last 10 years at that point. So I'm excited to be here at the center and guiding FAU in how we can move into the future and embrace this new process. I will have to admit, for me, becoming a faculty member was a little backwards. I actually started teaching online from the very, even as a grad assistant. And so that I started there and had to migrate to be in front of students. And I didn't actually stand in front of students until I went to Barry University. And I will tell you, it was the most frightening thing I ever had to do. All of a sudden, I was standing up in front of a room like this, looking at people who could care less about what I was saying. So at least online, you can pretend they care. And one of the first things I did was I asked them a question, and nobody wanted to answer. And I'm hitting panic buttons at that point, because if you're online, you ask a question in the discussion board, everyone's response, right? Everyone has a chance to chime in. Yet here I am in the face-to-face class and no one wants to chime in. What do you do? So for me, it was the opposite experience. I know a lot of people are afraid to go online, but for me, it was very scary being in front of a whole class full of students. So I had to learn a whole nother set of skills in order to do that well. So just as you're learning, another set of skills in order to do what I started doing well, right? So it's just a little bit of different experience, so I definitely empathize with what you're going through. One of the things they have asked me to talk a little bit about is some of the things that, again, I started talking a little bit about the state and what the state's doing in distance learning. So one of the things the state is asking us as a university to look at is joining in what they call a common learning management system. And in December, and finally in January, they made the decision. They recommended that Canvas as the statewide LMS. So they negotiated a contract for everyone in the state for Canvas. So we can now opt into that contract. So we have been asked to look at Canvas and to see if that would be a good choice for us. At the same time we were doing this, Blackboard said, by the way, we have a new interface. It's called Ultra. Now, it's not totally ready for launch. It's supposed to be ready for launch in July with some very basic features. It's not going to be fully robust and built out the way Canvas is, but it does have a different interface. So that's where we are at here at FAU, is that we are doing the Blackboard comparison to Canvas. We wanted everyone possible as a faculty member to go in and look at the two products and to give us recommendations. The reason why we're coming to you is because every one of you uses tools differently in Blackboard. You might use different tools, and even if you use the same tools, you're using them for a different instructional strategy or purpose. So we want to make sure that you can still do those same type of activities in Canvas. If you cannot, we need to know. If it looks like it's great for your course and you can, Canvas will handle what your expectations are, then we also need to know that. So we will send out, I think the group did get the link to.
Probably so, but we'll send it again just to verify.
We still have probably about a week or so that you can go in and play with Canvas and tell us what you think, or go in and experiment with Ultra. And there's a survey online. We knew that faculty would be gone. Some of them might get it faculty. Some faculty like to take that time to do, you know, some things they couldn't do during while the students are here. Other faculty go on vacation. So you were obviously not in the prior last group. We wanted to make sure you had a week after you came back from spring break to kind of continue to give us feedback. So there's still time. So have any of you tried Ultra yet, or tried Canvas, thought about it, looking into it? No? That I suggest you do that, because otherwise the decision is going to be made without your input. So we don't want to do that. We want everyone to put in as much input as we possibly can. So that said, we did get a lot of faculty. So yes.
They want us to do Canvas though, right, at the state system. That's what I'm understanding. That's kind of the political.
It's the political.
So I guess that's why I thought, well, I'll do whatever is decided.
Well,
maybe that's a bad
I know I'm
question.
being recorded.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I mean, I thought that was the idea.
They only evaluated the LMS piece. All right, so I don't believe they evaluated the apps, and I don't know, I think the apps are really important, and there are student apps, and Blackboard's actually developing a professor app. It's a big deal, because what it does is it allows you, and you can do this somewhat with Canvas, but Canvas is not like all the way there. It's close, but not quite. But with the apps, you don't have to go into Blackboard to do a lot of your workflow. So for example, and that's why I think it's good for us, even regardless of which system you should be looking, because these systems are literally, both of them will change how we actually do distance learning. So right now you have to log into your laptop, go into Blackboard, and you're gonna have, if you wanna upload a document, you wanna do grading, you wanna send out a little message, right? With the app, you can do that on your tablet or your phone. And it will actually, it'll send you a message. For example, let's say you have assignments that are due on March 18th. So it gets to March 18th, and it'll send you a message, and it'll say 18 of your 25 students have turned in their assignment. Now you can actually launch from the app. You have the ability to go in and grade. You don't have to stop what you're doing, go log on to a computer. You can actually grade with the app. Don't have to log on, do any of that stuff. Isn't that incredible? And you can actually send, so 7 students did not turn in their assignment, right? You can actually go in and say, I want to click on communicate with those 7 students. Remember, your assignment was due to them. It feeds all of that to them on their app that they're carrying in their pocket. Oh, I forgot to turn in my assignment today. Okay, I need to go do that, right? It also sends them messages. And what I like about it, and again, both of these do, I think it depends on if it's on the Canvas side, if it's the iPhone app or Android app. You kind of, I think, I haven't totally figured all that out. But it'll send the student, it doesn't send it by course. What it does is it looks at all the courses. And then all the messages from all the courses come together in one place, and it comes up on their phone. Now, and I'm still trying to remember if Blackboard does this. I know Campus does. I think both of them do now.
We've sat through both of.
I'm confused.
Yeah.
I've been trying to keep going back and looking at and processing it. But you'll be able to even provide audio and video feedback to the students on their assignments. And they can provide audio and feedback to you as well. So let's say you're grading an assignment and you say, you know, this is a really wonderful assignment, but I think if you really want to improve for your next time, if you could concentrate on this part, right? You could do that really by just recording yourself on the phone. Then they can record themselves on the phone. Oh, that's a really good point. I'll make sure I do that. Isn't that incredible? You can have a really great conversation.
Ellen, I am going to take Dr. Brown off the spot.
Yes.
And invite you to visit with her after the PB is over and get your feedback on there. And I will say, being politically correct, that just as in this coming week, Florida is being asked to put their information out there about political preferences.
We're putting the political part to this side. We're not going to worry. We don't have to worry about that. As faculty, we're not worried about that. We're going to allow the provost office.
Yeah, but the university is asking for your input. And so if you can take a little bit of time, and I realize I'm talking to faculty members, time is not something we have a lot of, but if you can take a little bit of time to take a look at both of them and then submit your ideas, your thoughts, your preferences, hopefully those messages will be heard.
The good news is regardless of which one, I think we're going to have improved workflow.
Yeah.
And what I really like is that you don't have to log in every day and check your messages, right? Or check who's participating, right? That takes you a lot of time. So you'll be able to do this now using an app or a simpler interface. So I think it's worth taking a look at. So that way you can re-envision how you're communicating with your students. And I've got some blogs on it.
Good, good. And we are fortunate in here in having Dr. Brown right there at the end of our hallway all the time, because she is right there in the forefront of what's going on in this. So we get firsthand information. So this is a good place to be to find out what you need to know.
So in my blogs right now, I've been talking about what this new workflow, those kind of things. And my blogs also are talking about this 2025 online strategic plan. So the first one went out last week, part 2 is coming out this week, and part 3 will come out next week.
And we will also send everyone a link to Dr. Brown's blog, because that's the other place to be, to know as soon as she knows what's going on, because she's wonderful about putting it all out there for us. So we are blessed.
And I try not to do it so often that you're inundated, but try to put it in. So I'm working on it.
There's always stuff that
So
has
I want to
be
make
said.
sure, thank you. Here at FAU, we appreciate your efforts in helping us achieve not only FAU's goals, but now the state goals. And you're a very important piece of everything we're doing, considering, and thinking about here at FAU. So thank you so much for your time and being willing to do that with us and take this journey. These are wonderful people. I put you in great hands.
Well, and you're looking at both here and online some of the most dedicated ones in the group.
Yes.
I've had to kind of put the reins on a couple of them this week and say, hold on, they'll catch up with you.
Yes. You can email me questions and that thing. I'm very open for anything like that. Yeah. So thank you again.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. I appreciate it. All right. And we do appreciate having her here and knowing that we get to know exactly what's going on. All right. Now then, Kathy, if you will take those papers and hand them down. I actually have 2 links up here for you. This one is the one that you went into for the interactive slides, and hopefully you are putting some information on there. This link is for those of you who are joining us online, the ones who are in the room have an actual old-fashioned hard copy of that document. But this is something that you can download to your computer and make notes as we're going through some of the things we're talking about today. So that's just another little added bonus for you. Do I need to leave this up for the? Are you monitoring them?
Right, did you
Do
paste
you
the
want
link
us
into
to-
the chat?
Okay, everybody's all right?
That too, or?
You should
No.
already be on this one, if I'm not
Right.
mistaken.
Yeah, you're on that one. This is just a link to that piece of paper that you have in front of you. And if you want to jot it down, maybe on that paper so you can go back to it if you like, you can certainly do that. Right.
Right.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, you got it, Greg?
No.
ow.ly/uppercase Z, lowercase j, uppercase M, 4, and uppercase J.
Thank you.
And this is like what we've been doing with the bit.ly link, but we found another one and we just thought Owly was kind of a neat one to use. I don't even know who found that for us. Did Willie find it? Seemed to be, yeah. Okay, so let's get on. And so our next step is to talk about what you have jotted down on your slides. So do you need to open that up for them? Something you may have discovered and something that you may wish to know. So let's see what we have up here.
This is mine.
It's whose? Yeah, okay. And so you've discovered how to add documents and links. Good for you. Ooh, you've discovered the Grade
Yes,
Center.
yeah.
That's
I use it a lot. I use it a lot. It's wonderful.
Oh, good, good. That is one of my disclaimers for today. We're not going to go into in depth at all in the Grading Center because we have one coming up in a couple of weeks about that. Sending an email directly from Blackboard, good for you. Using the discussion board, and that's a really, really effective tool. And
The first one is not mine, it was here.
This is mine.
Oh,
I don't know,
okay.
maybe we're on
Okay, so
slides.
you combine, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, okay.
How to enter a
collaboration.
Loki into the course, and I tried with Claudia to get that in. I know you've done a good job with embedding, so maybe you can sit with Claudia afterwards and help her embed that into her course. Difference between Wiki and discussion board, how to use Padlets, and that's a good one. It's not on my list for today, and how to use the Wiki, but we will definitely come up with Padlets along with some of the other things that we have used. So do you have the link to take us to another one? How to create groups. Stella, how are you feeling, Stella? You want to open up her
Yep.
mic?
Hi, I'm so
Hi.
happy to be here today. I missed you guys last week and I heard you learned fantastic things and I feel great.
Good.
Thank you for asking. Yes, growing by the minute, I feel.
So are you on countdown?
Yes, I am 36 weeks and 2 days, but I think she's going to make it to 40. So that's my goal.
All right, great. Well, keep us in the loop, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Like I said, we don't want to be the first or the second one to know, but we definitely want to know.
But definitely the third.
Well, I'm assuming family comes in there before us, but that's okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Creating groups without assigning them, and that's for random. Did you do, or just leaving it open for them to self-assign?
The way that you used it for the way we created groups, I thought that was fantastic.
Oh, okay.
That you join a group. I have never seen that before, and I think it's just great, especially when you have a class of students that might be all over the world.
Excellent.
Might not know each other, or just that actually I thought was fantastic. Honestly, I don't know how to use it yet, but I want to learn it so that I can use it.
That's okay, and I think we have a session coming up on groups and setting them up and using it and everything. So you are right along task with us. Gradebook features, like I said, not in today, but especially with our guest speaker, but we definitely will cover that for you. And wikis, and there are some little tips that we can do about wikis, and I didn't have that down for today. We'll see how time goes, we might be able to get to that. Who else do we have here? All right, Greg,
Yes, ma'am.
you want to share with us? You want me to read it?
No, I can read it. The organizational thing is wonderful because I used to keep separate folders and separate files and then load them into Blackboard, and then I realized, why am I doing that? It's there anyway. So
Right.
it took me a while to kind of get that.
Yeah.
By far, so far, my experience with Blackboard, the grading thing has just been fantastic. I mean,
Yes, it's a great tool.
when I was at FIU, I remember doing weighted grading on an Excel spreadsheet, and finding out after the grades were posted I made a mistake, as an example.
Right.
And then the fact that the fact that students can always get in and see exactly where they are.
Yeah,
is amazing.
absolutely. Now then, on your file system, have you actually gone into the file system and then the back part in Blackboard?
No,
Okay.
I tried that.
No, that's all right. I was just going to say, if you do, you're probably one of the 1% of people around that do.
But I duplicating from one class to the following.
Right,
time is
yeah,
wonderful.
absolutely. There's some great ideas there. Abstracts on test performance.
They give you that option to analyze question by question, help you
Yeah.
more, and it doesn't print out the whole question, and it's, I know it looks like you can do a lot more than I've been doing. and I'd like
Yeah.
to learn how to do that.
Coming attractions. Too lazy to try them. Trial and error is good. Thank you for being honest. That's great. Okay, who else do we have here? Kathy has added an image there for us. YouTube videos is easy with the Mashup Tool. And that's where I was trying to help Claudia with it, and it wasn't a YouTube, it was a Focus. So we will get to that. Grading yet, because I didn't have a reason to use it. I know, I hear you, me too, and I teach. But I don't use it that much other than basic stuff. Claudia.
Oh, those were my point, yeah.
Oh, okay. And so we've got that. All right. The HTML editor messes things up. And time-saving tips when creating content using I'm sure that means editor, right? All right. You want to turn her mic on?
Hi guys.
Hi, Mary. We missed you here. How are you?
I'm very tired, but very
Yes.
I
Yes.
have very puffy eyes.
Okay. So that's why we're hearing her and not seeing her. She picked her daughter up at the airport at midnight last night. So.
Yeah, and then we went for a bite, which means I got home around 2 in the morning.
Okay. Well.
Yeah. So my perspective today may be a little different from those who are teaching, and this happened to me as I was building one of my courses. And I found that the HTML editor kind of has a mind of its own. I've been frustrated all week, and I wanted just to add that from the perspective of an instructional designer, if we could have time-saving tips, that would be awesome.
Okay. All
And
right.
I'm actually here with Todd today, and he gave me some very useful
Oh, good.
HTML tips.
Good.
So I just wanted to say that.
All right. Yeah. And between what you're getting from him and what Willie is providing for us, we're moving in that direction, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so we can go back to. All right, so in my did you know, and here are a few of the things that I just went through and tried to come up with as things that might be helpful tips for you. So if you would open up the course, please. This is a demo course that I have now. I'm gonna have to go get my notes because I don't have my my tips on the screen up.
Is this okay size-wise for everybody?
Yeah.
Should we be doing that too, or?
Not necessarily, unless you just want to, or you can jot notes down over there. So one of the first ones I had is basic. How do I've got all this stuff built in there. I've copied it over into my quote live course. What do I have to do to get it open for my students? So here's what we're gonna do on that. You're gonna go into control panel. You're gonna go down to customization, properties, and then you're going to go to the third item down, set availability, and I went in and turned this one off for the students because I put a bunch of us in here today for our students, turned it off for them. So now this is really a tough one, guys. Are you ready for it? Woohoo!
Are there no other options besides this? No.
Yeah, maybe temporarily. And then submit. And the course is now. Submit. All right, you want to do the click for me? Thank you. And so now the course is open for the students. And it's interesting because it's one of those things, like many things in Blackboard, it's easy, very easy, but not intuitive. And so that's one of the things I wanted you to know.
Just to add to what Judy's saying, I've seen a lot of instructors have their class ready to go and not be necessarily sure that they still need to open it up for the students. So we do the full design, we work on it, we make sure everything is good, the due dates and all that stuff. But there's still a little like a parenthetical note in your course that it's unavailable to students. And so students are like, why can't I see your class? And often it's because we didn't necessarily realize that you have to make it available to them.
Yeah.
So that's a really important thing to know for all your courses.
And along with the same lines, which is where I thought you were headed, you can open it up and still keep part of your learning units closed. You can open it up and just leave the start here on or the first unit open so that they've got something to see when they go in. Certainly leave the syllabus and schedule part open. So they've got something to see when they go in there, but not necessarily if you're still adjusting things in there. That gives you the opportunity to continue adjusting, and yet your students are in the course and see it.
I would say that what Judy said is my personal recommendation, to keep it open, but just a limited view, like she was saying.
Yeah.
Because if, say for instance, your student wants to see your syllabus, or they want to see the requirements prior to the first day of the class, it could be helpful to have that open on the Start Here page, so that the first time they ever become introduced to your class is not on the day of the class. Maybe like I've seen people open it up perhaps like a week in advance, maybe even 2 weeks or whatever the case may be, so they can get a glimpse of what the course will be like.
So then do you have to hide individually everything else, or is there a way to
Well,
just?
no, there's not a one-stop hiding thing. It's either open or not. But then you would just go into the learning units, and I think it would show you how to hide the particular unit. And then when you're ready for it, open it up. And strongly recommend having the Start Here and probably your syllabus open well before the course. The Start Here, if you've got student introductions, you want them to go in and get started looking through all of that stuff, getting acquainted with you, and starting to post their introductions in the discussion board so that there can be some class interaction even before the class starts. So the next one I had on my list is easy way of moving things within the course. And I'm not, edit mode is on or off? I don't see
It is. I've zoomed so close till I think
Okay.
there we go.
All right. So most of you know about this arrow over here on this. Where did I go? Oh, I went way down. Most of you know about the arrow over here on the side that moves them. Thank you, Allison. That will move things up and down. And that is certainly one way to move an item if you want something to be seen before something else. But there is also another really cool tip or trick. I'll let you do it from over there. See the double arrows up on the very top taskbar over there, those double arrows. Yeah, go ahead, and then when you click on that, it lists all the things that are in that unit. And you can go in and take whatever you want from there and just shift it up and down on that so that, and it gives you that message every time this has been moved. You want to do that, and we say, of course, you know, that's why I did it. But I talk to my computer. I know everybody else must too. So that's a couple of quick and easy tips. You will see that those up and down arrows are here as well. You can shift things over here, although typically we like to keep things pretty much in the same order over here so that students get the consistency from one course to another. But those double up and down arrows are in there. They will be in each one of the units that you go into. So any of the things that you want to shift around, you can use those arrows for. Okay, and I had down in my list a quick and easy way for you to create your student list. So you go into Course Tools, and no, we're going to go to Grade Center. I typically do full Grade Center, but that's just my personal habit. You'll see I've got a lot of really good students in here. In order to get myself a student list, work offline, download, and then it's going to say, do we want the full Grade Center? And I typically do this at the end of the semester, so I've got the full record of everything that they did in the semester. And then on that spreadsheet, I also put in whatever other items I need to have, if it's their incompletes or if it's unusual number of tardies or whatever. But so you can do at the end of the semester, do a full Grade Center, and I usually keep that in a separate file, even though our Blackboard units are open for us for quite a while. But in order to do a list, just do user information only. And then it saves. I'm going to download, and then let Allison open it up for us.
Sorry, guys.
We didn't do save. I don't usually have to do that on, there it is. It's thinking. Anyway, it opens it up. It's it comes in one of those other formats. But there you have your class list, basic class list for you. I would typically delete a couple of these things that I don't need in a class list, but then I keep a basic of this one in with my class files, and if I need a class list for anything to jot down who's in what group or any of those things, then I just automatically put it in on that. So that's a quick and easy. Okay, we can go back to it. Is everybody comfortable with announcements and sending out announcements and knowing the options that you have in there?
Judy, excuse me, this is Stella. I have a question.
Okay.
When I worked at Lynn University, I used to be able to go into tools and look at the roster,
Yeah.
and I was actually able to take attendance. So at the beginning of the semester, I will set up the dates and the days of the week when I taught, and then I will go into class and I will just open that and take attendance from there. But I haven't been able to figure out if it's something that we can do at FAU, or is something that maybe Blackboard doesn't have anymore, or perhaps it requires more of a process to get it done.
I don't think that feature is available.
Yeah, I have
at
not
our
seen that
institution.
still. That would be a great feature to be able to use, just to have it automatically there online. And I have not seen that in there at all. I know we can go to the class list and get a roster, but I haven't seen any way to make it available to use that way.
The last time that I used it was in the spring of 2013 when, you know, I taught for the last time at Lynn. And yeah, you're right. It's a really helpful tool because you use it
And
in the
they
classroom.
use Blackboard as well?
Correct, yes.
Interesting.
You know, our the administrators at the university allow and disallow certain features. and
Right,
it seems to be
yeah.
one that it's not allowed.
That's definitely something we would want to check with, again, depending on where we go with this whole LMS question. But that is a tool that would be extremely helpful no matter what LMS we're using. So I like that. Thank you, Stella. We will make note of that and make sure it moves up the line and down the hall. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I've not ever been aware of it. There's another thing that they use to track or intend to use to track through Blackboard at some point is Starfish. And you can go in that and keep track of your attendance. And registrar's office has access to that, as well as ultimately advisors for the students. But I don't know the degree to which that has been put into place. But I know that's one of the things they have told us is supposed to be available. Okay, anybody have any concerns about setting announcements? I'll just do a quick, if we were going to send an announcement out to our group, we would put it in there, we would give it a title, we put the comments that we want to make, and you can set it to either be date restricted or not date restricted, and then send a copy of this announcement immediately. Either way, so that, and when you do that, they automatically get an email, as well as you get one too. Plus, it's saved in the announcements in Blackboard. Okay, you're shaking your
I
head.
didn't know they got the email.
They do.
I always wrote a separate email to everybody.
They do. Now, when they did this last upgrade in, last May, I guess it was, that email now comes out with the heading that says, do not reply to this email. Doesn't make any difference. You can reply to it and they get it, you know, they can reply back to you and it goes right back to you. But yes, they do get an email, as well as you get a copy of it, and the announcement is saved in there. Yeah, great, thank you.
What are the course links? Or I've never done that for an announcement, but you link it to something in the class, and when the announcement goes out, they can link right to that?
Yeah, I don't typically do it in an announcement, but when you do browse, it takes you to that whole list of what's in there. So if you want to refer them to something that's in Unit 3, that you want them to make special note of, you can put it in there. Yeah, I typically don't do that either. If I have a link for them, I put it in the document, but that's just, again, personal preferences. All right.
Just a quick thing about announcements. I have noticed that a lot of faculty will take their announcements and move them from one course to the next, so that they don't, if you're teaching the same section of whatever course over and over and over again, they'll make a very general announcement and move it from one course to the next and set it to date and time release. So that, for example, every week you like to greet your students with an opening for the week. You set that to open on Monday and release it at 12 a.m. or whatever the case is. And you don't have to keep retyping them. It's just the same announcement. It's still relevant and it rolls out. And so maybe you take one semester, you take the time to tap out very thoughtful and thorough announcements to kind of preface the week. And then from semesters following, if that information is the same, those announcements will roll out and really kind of not mimic your presence, but it would kind of increase the presence without you having to go in every single Monday to type that announcement.
Excellent, excellent. And look on that on my list and see. the announcement settings, the whole extra time thing. Do you want to cover this one?
Yeah, let me go inside. So there have been, for example, on a test, and I've not done this before, but if they wanted to have
Well, that's in that other thing too.
the extra time
In
in
the
an assignment, so I'll go in through there. If for a reason a student's, maybe they've self-disclosed to SAS, Student Accessibility Services, that they need like extra time on an assignment, you can set it up so that student can get extra time. All right, Judy, where is it in here?
Oh, I thought it was in this one.
I think it's inside test if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, well, while you're in that one though, let's go ahead and do one of the other things that I had down to show you, and then I forgot where it was, and then Allison reminded me where it was. Under assignment information, used to be that Safe Assign was one of the pretty obvious ones, and it's been hidden now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's under submission details, and that's where you can set it up to go individual or to a group. You can check submissions for by sending it through Safe Assign right in there. So that was one of the things that we discovered that came out in this newer version of it. And when you put, you want to just give us some points on whatever this is? And then you have the option if you want to add a rubric to it. Select a rubric. I don't think I have any in this. Oh, yes, I do too. But that's where there's chocolate chip cookie rubric. When I was working on doing the rubric. So whatever this assignment is, it's going to ask you if you want to use it. Use that rubric. Use the points in that rubric as the points for the assignment. And typically you would say yes. One of the things, and I have no idea why they did it that way, but typically you have to, the default is not to show that. The default is no. And so you have to click that you want them to see the rubric with the rubric scores so that they know what they're working on as they're going through that. So
just a quick shameless plug for rubrics. I had a professor come in who teaches coding, and that's probably one of the things that you don't think you can rubricize, so to speak, but we sat down and I kind of asked him, what exactly are you looking for? What would an A look like? What would a B look like? And he hashed it out for me. So hopefully in the coming semester, his grading will be a little bit quicker. I know that's one of the things that keeps professors from giving really robust assignments is that the grading can be really cumbersome. But having rubrics has really been a helpful piece.
makes it
for
so easy. And we have had a session in this on rubrics. So we will, I don't know if we have it on the calendar at this point or not. But
maybe we can help to
check.
develop some rubrics. Maybe sit down and go like
Yeah.
big picture. Figure out
But yeah, this chocolate chip cookie rubric is from the session that I did on developing rubrics. So I'll leave it at that. Greg, chocolate chip cookies coming up sometime.
I won't miss that. Trust me.
Yeah.
if you wanted to see when you're selecting the rubrics, say you've developed them all and you put them in and you want to see which rubric this is. So let's say you have several discussion boards and there's one that you don't remember which is which. If you click on this button, it'll give you a quick pop out of which rubric that is. So you can say. Judy would never put this on something for real for her students. But okay, that's it.
Well, you never know.
It's nasty.
But so that's just some quick things. You want to go back in then on the
Oh, yeah.
the extra
So-
time.
Giving a student extra time, you can make exceptions for them on, for example, a test. And I've had a few instructors do this. I think I already created this test. So the test is here. And you want to edit the options and allow for, so this is where you would set the normal timer for other students. But this, let's see. Exceptions is where you're going to add those exceptions for students who perhaps need more time due to maybe something they've worked out with you or with OSD or something
Right.
like that. So you go in to test availability exceptions, you'd add a user or a group of students, Typically you do that for specific users, individual users. Click submit, and how many attempts and when it's available. So if the test generally ends on Friday and that student says, I just need one more day, then that one student will be able to access that test until Saturday.
Or if you have the test set up for an hour and you have the note from SAF saying that your student need extra time for a test, and set it for an hour and a half.
Yep.
Or however.
And only that student gets that preference.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Whatever students you have put in there for that.
Mhm.
And you saw when she clicked in there, it goes to your complete list and you just click on the one that does need it. Yeah. All right. Take me back to where we were. Let me see what we've missed.
Okay.
Can you show the mashup? Because people got really excited about that. They were writing it down.
I sometimes try to, and so the mashups have been something that sometimes work and sometimes.
I've got one in Unit 1 that I played around with and was able to get it in there. That's why I thought I could show Claudia and then it.
Usually, is this it, Judy?
Uh-huh.
I think what we want to do, so here's an embedded video that you could copy the code from. Oh, look at that. Whatever. Oh, your Zaption, this is cool.
Yeah.
This is going to be the start of our video clips
Okay,
on
you go
chapter
through that
6.
one.
It's a pretty in-depth chapter, so we're going to be doing it in
Okay.
several
Let me
steps.
go to another one. So this is an example of course, an embedded video that you could plug in. And is this Zaption active? You can answer the questions and stuff. Awesome. And then another option for adding video is when you go into the actual unit, edit. If you wanted to, into the item, if you wanted to add a video into something, you can click on mashups and search these areas. And you could just paste the URL from YouTube, or you could search for something. So
Allison, could you walk through that one more time?
Of
Where
course,
that mashup
absolutely,
thing was? Oh, I see it.
Allison moves fast.
I do, I'm so sorry. It's like you guys are not even in here, so let me try again. Start over. So if you wanted to add it to this, for example, or the video section, here's the video section. Click edit, or the drop down arrow next to the videos. And then you just put it where you want it. So let's say I want it here, I just click
Mashups, and then this one is also add the embed.
And just search. So here are a few, and let's say this is the one I want. I would always suggest showing the URL in the event that this video breaks. This student can always go to the URL. So I would click yes and submit. And there it is.
And it's that easy.
So if that gets taken down from YouTube, is it still there? That sounds silly.
It's still there, you're just linking to it.
Okay, but I'm saying, do things ever disappear from YouTube?
Oh, yes, they do. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes, then it would break. It wouldn't be active. And I've seen a lot of mashups that do that. They end up disappearing, and so it's cautionary. I would limit the amount of mashups that you put in here.
Yeah.
I think maybe the best thing to do, although it's not as visually cool, is to do the link. Like put a link and put it in there so it always links out to YouTube and they can go directly to the video itself. But these are really cool to have inside because when you click on the mashup, it plays right there inside of Blackboard. You don't have to go out. But for some reason, depending on the browser the student uses, sometimes when you're in like Internet Explorer or Firefox, the frame will freeze and they'll say, oh, this mashup isn't working, etc. And that's where the URL comes in because they can always copy it and paste it into the URL bar.
And doesn't that eliminate the extra stuff when you do it.
It sure does, you're right,
Yeah.
Judy. You know how you
It- it-
embed a video and
Removes
then
the,
after the video, you get a bunch of suggested videos. So if I give something, I watch a lot of hair videos on YouTube. And if I give my students a video, if they'll see all the hair videos and makeup tutorials that I've watched, they're like, oh my God, it's so inappropriate. So mashups will just show them that one video and it won't give those suggested ones.
And we've also discussed it being like a helpful copyright strategy that
Yes.
instead of
Yeah.
embedding somebody else's video, it's a better practice to send our students out.
Yeah.
So
Then-
that way,
then
you
you're
know,
not-
if
then
it breaks,
you're-
it breaks. That's,
Yeah.
you know, but if you've embedded it and it doesn't belong to you,
Yeah.
now you're kind of.
then you're not violating any copyright guidelines. Yeah. Okay, so what else? Where are we? What have we missed, omitted? That's okay, you can leave it.
Oh, yeah. that's-
Oh, linking an item to Blackboard tools. We did not do that.
So should you want to do it or we do it?
Oh, go ahead.
If you are interested in, say for instance, you want your student to use the group tool or the discussion board tool, you build content and create a course link. Is this where you were heading, Judy?
Either that or I've done it through tools up at the top as well.
Gotcha. Yep, here as well.
Yeah.
So if you wanted them to go to the discussion board, you create a link to the discussion board. And so both ways will get you the same end, but this is more intuitive, so I would go this way. So let's say it's group time and you want your students to be able to go to groups. You'd say, okay, let me link them to the group tool. You know, let me choose another one because
Yeah, because I don't have
any
groups set up in this course.
I'll link them to the discussion board. That's usually pretty typical. So discussion board. And we're going to select the discussion board that we want to link to, but I would suggest linking them to the general page as opposed to linking them to one discussion board so they can see the whole page as opposed to just one.
And then click where they need to go.
That's correct. And then click next, put the text. This week you're going to do your discussion board. Once you get to the discussion board page, navigate to the Unit 2 discussion board and then submit. And everything always goes to the bottom of the unit and you can use it as you see fit. But once we've created that link to that tool, you just click on discussion board and it'll take you right there.
And you can now use your new up and down arrow to move that item wherever you want it. The default in Blackboard is whatever you've added goes in at the bottom. But now you know how to move things.
Claudia, you have
Yeah, I don't quite understand, I think, the difference between discussion board and wikis then.
okay.
Because, I mean, it is answering back and forth
Very
to other
similar,
people,
very
but
similar.
how we're used them differently, or what's.
Do you want to speak
Go
to
ahead.
that? Okay, so Judy teaches, so it might be better to get it from a teacher's perspective. From a builder's perspective, what I've seen is that wikis have been used as kind of a developing information, kind of like a clearinghouse where everybody collaborates on one document. So if you were to say you want the students to create a definition, they could all go in and collaborate on the same document, whereas discussion board threads are broken up individually by person. I would say for kind of like a rule of thumb, you would use wikis in more of a collaborative space where you want students to all pull together and it's more like crowdsourcing, a bunch of people coming together, bringing, condensing, consolidating information and coming out with one product, whereas discussion boards have different threads where they just respond, so to speak.
Because like I used the wiki for the last unit or so, but then I'm like, okay, so where is anybody answering me? Who else
Well,
is there?
and the
Actually
reason-
dig in,
yeah,
so
but the
deep,
reason-
whereas discussion board, you know, I see new posts easier.
The reason that you had that issue though is you were one of the first ones into that wiki. So there wasn't anything else for you to see. One of the things I have learned, and fairly recently, is that when you're in the wiki, you need to give them the instructions. You want to open up, I don't think I have one in here, but
You want to open it up like this?
yeah. Okay, so what you want to do is give them the instructions to edit the wiki content rather than create a wiki page.
Right.
When they create a wiki page, then you as the instructor sees all the different names of the students or whatever they call their page over here on this side. It's not contributing into the actual the discussion. And the good part about using a wiki is that everyone sees it, adds to, they see what so-and-so said and say, well, I like that idea, and how about if we did this, you know, that sort of thing. Similar to what you all have been doing in the discussion board, but on the individual threads, where this is the individual comments adding to the whole, like Allison said, the crowdsourcing idea.
Claudia, I think a good way to think about it is if you go to Wikipedia, if you wanted to, you could edit that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the point of a wiki, is that it's crowdsourcing, it's getting all the most relevant, pertinent information. And if there was a comma missing on Wikipedia, I could go in and put a comma, or say he died in 1943 as opposed to 1942, I could correct that information. It's pulling that information together, getting the most accurate stuff. Whereas a discussion board, you can't edit another person's post. They post their own opinion, their own ideas, and then someone can respond to it. But the wiki is pulling all the information together in one space, one place to create a document that is perhaps more vetted or peer-reviewed or something like that.
The other thing about the discussion board is, I don't know if this is true for wiki, but for discussion board, you can put that the students may not comment on someone else's post until they have done an original post. So they have to answer a question independently, if you said it that way, without getting examples from other learners.
Yeah.
Now they've opened it up, now they can access the other learners.
And that's when you're grading it, you're using it as a grade.
You know, if that's the way.
Yeah.
I think one last thing, and I know that we have time has to go, but the way I've seen one instructor use a wiki, she wanted the biography of a certain person, and she made 4 people create it. So one person created the biography, then I went in and edited that. I was a student in this class, edited that person's response by adding more about his childhood, more about his adulthood, more about his works. And the next person came in, read everything that we had written, and added more about, embellished a little bit about some of the seminal stuff that he had done, etc. So just really building on the prior person's work, creating something that is.
But I, as an instructor, would see who adds what.
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
because
definitely. As with the rest of the students. I mean, they see each other's name and contribution on there.
It shows up in different colors, is that right, Judy?
I think so.
Yeah.
Can they delete someone else's work?
Yeah, that's
That
what I
is
was
the
wondering.
downside.
Yeah.
So on Wikipedia, you could put wrong information.
Yes, there's a running joke that Sinbad said on some show. He said, Wikipedia killed me. He was on TV, and according to Wikipedia, he was dead in 2012. And he was like, it was 2014. He's like, I'm still here, guys. So Wikipedia is funny.
It's not a reliable.
Yeah,
No.
you use it as a springboard.
Yeah, used to get a starting point. All right, so we've done these. I was gonna look at this, and I wanna just do a quick, these are some things that are there for you, because we're not gonna go into them.
My rude.
So where's the course? No, let me just go into the course for quickly.
Okay.
One of the, some really cool tools, I'm gonna invite you just to play around with them, is under this evaluation tab, and most of us don't get in there very often. The one that says course reports, well, that one I'll open and show you. There's a whole long list of reports that you can get. When you click on one and just poke around in there and see what they do, it takes a while for them to download if you're going to gonna get this information. But it's a pretty cool way of finding out some stuff about the students in the course and their activity in their wherever we
Where do you want to go, Judy? Oh,
No, I'm fine. Performance dashboard. Now, in this class, I mean, I have a star class here. This gives you the name, when they were last in the course, how many days since they accessed it, some of the other information. And this I just set up with these students in the course. So they really aren't slackers. They just didn't know they were in this course yet. But let's go to the retention center, and you'll see that they're not slackers. Oh, students currently at risk. Well, when I did it earlier, it said they were all doing really well. Okay, so the main thing here is they haven't been in the course for a while. So, and I'm going to show you cautiously what that looks like from a course. And we might want to enlarge this a bit. This is the retention center. I did a cut and paste from one of the retention centers.
sorry, Judy.
That's
We're
okay.
up here. There we go.
From one of them from a course, and it really is an extremely valuable tool, particularly if you have students that aren't participating, aren't active in the course. It gives you ideas on their deadlines missed, on grades alert, activity alert, and access alert. And there's a place in here where when you click on the student, it will take you to that student. You can send a note that looks to the student like it came from Blackboard, because it says, you're currently at risk for something or other, please contact your instructor. And so they get what looks to them like a note from Blackboard. I'm sorry, Claudia, I'm trying to move.
No, don't worry.
I just wanted to quickly go over this. We won't go into any detail on it, but I just wanted you to know that these things are in there. And then it highlights the ones that you have been monitoring so that you can go back and send them. And it tracks everything in addition to sending you a copy of it. So, see, we made it. We made it. And so we thank Dr. Brown. I want you to start thinking about different ways, different things that you can do to use Blackboard. Hopefully, everyone present here and there learned something today. And then my little, oh, by the way, go look at the things in the evaluation, because it's pretty interesting information in there. And then upcoming attractions next week is your online teaching persona, how you come across. And by now you've already figured out that they get a really good idea of who you are. You started this process out thinking, well, I'm just another number. I'm at the other end of a computer and they don't have a clue. Yeah, they do too. They've got a really good idea of who you are and how you handle things, what your personality is like. So that's our next week's session. The following one after that is one on active learning, which is what the week that you're in the workshop right now. And then April 1st, somehow or another that kind of didn't occur to me that was hitting on that day. Blackboard Grading Center on April Fool's Day, go figure. So that's it. Thank you.